So at some point, there's going to be people who are going to ask, what is the deal with how did this happen with the FBI? Like, how is it that the FBI behave this way? That they're framing up the Republicans? Like a lot of people, like, and especially I really want to. This is one of these that's special. Like, no. Black people, you got to know this. Black Democrats, you need to understand something that's real weird. That is why I left the party. Because fundamentally, everyone kept talking about how Donald Trump was a Nazi. There's all these white supremacists and Nazis. I was somebody who, way back in the 90s, got into trying to find out about these organizations, because I found out that they were organizations. They were very similar to organized crime. Then I found out that they robbed armories, and they robbed an armory in Bremerton a long time ago. And this is, some black people, especially from LA, you might have once or many times heard stories about pickup trucks sitting in South Central Los Angeles, just taking off of the cover and selling like AK-47 or selling weapons right out of trucks in South Central Los Angeles. Okay, so that story that weapons were being sold in South Central Los Angeles right off the street, that matched what then a former Aryan Nations guy said in a speech that I was at, who had left, said it was a Bremerton armory robbery by the Aryan Nations. And so a lot of people the Army doesn't want to admit that. The National Guard doesn't want to admit that that's one of the sources for weapons that just end up places. This guy basically put it as people in the AN it's funny to them. It was funny that they were making money off of that. They were making money off of Zog by selling weapons to the gangbangers. They do find a cruel humor in that, or did. This is a long time ago. This is decades ago. The thing is, I started to find weirder and weirder stuff about these kinds of organizations. One of which was this guy had photos of people who were in military intelligence. And he's like, they didn't want their faces shown in these photos, but these guys were in what's called dress blues. Now, anybody that you were in the military, you know dress blues from the Navy. This was naval intelligence. So this is a guy at a ceremony by the Aryan Nations to promote their members in dress blues on camera. This is why I have this unique knowledge of this stuff, is because I got to see this defector left, and he left literally under threat to his family forever. So once he left, he's like, I'm a marked man. There were skinheads that were floating around the campus when he was around, probably watching him to intimidate him. And so this is a long time ago, though. So something that needs to be understood is that everything about Ukraine and these Nazis and stuff like that, okay, the FBI looked into people who our government had gotten rumors that there were people who had been in Axis governments in the United States. So we looked into it. What did we find? We found Ukrainian Nazis had been recruited by the United States government to start our intelligence agencies. And I actually, this is clearly written out in the memoirs of the major Nazi that we hired and saved from prosecution, who was the guy in the Eastern Front for Adolf Hitler. And he helped start the Gaddafi's service. He helped start most of the ISI. So most of the Islamic world, after World War II, during the Cold War, he's the guy who set up their intelligence services. One of the things he writes about is the difficulty of denazifying Muslims, because Nazi ideology was extremely popular throughout the Islamic world in the 30s. This is why you find those photos of the Albanian Nazis reading Mein Kampf or reading something about the Jews while they're wearing their fezzes, their uniform fezzes. But in the long run, we protected them. In the longest run, we protected these people. Because by the end of it, the guy who had done the investigation on the Nazis that got into the United States found that they had been hidden by the FBI themselves and by immigration and naturalization. So the FBI it's like what Karras once said: the police department is like a crew that does whatever they want to do. In society, you have legal and illegal, and you need both to keep things equal. And so what you need to now wonder, what is the relationship between the Democratic Party and the FBI, that this is all hunky-dory? That Hillary Clinton, you see, there's things that have happened that have thwarted the kind of the matrix, as Tate likes to put it, right? Well, the way that those got thwarted, it was what was in the WikiLeaks that was supposedly on Hillary Clinton's fucking server. A lot of the stuff, there was a lot of shit that went awry because if you knew what to look for in the WikiLeaks. If you didn't know what to look for, you wouldn't know, like, what Barack Obama and a lot of these people were planning to do. And the Islamic world, there's a reason the Islamic world is not having anything to do with us now that we're under democratic rule. If you don't know, you don't know. That's it. I mean, there's too many years. This is years and years and years of research. So most of the Ummah just knows that the Democrats think of them as mascots, and they'll be kept under the Democrats' thumb. Every time the Ummah has to do something, every time it's going to be, look how you treat your women. Look how you treat the gays and the women, the gays. And it's always going to be that. It's always going to be like, how could you treat gays like this? Oh, gosh. And that's why all of Africa, the entire continent, is like, no, fuck you. We're gonna do it our way. This is why Ghana is being Chad. Somewhere there's some African who's going to be, I'm going to use that. It doesn't work, but I'm going to use it sometime. It doesn't make sense. But I mean, I get it. It's funny. So anyway, a lot of Black Americans need to start asking, isn't it strange that after Black America got to see, like, kind of what law enforcement can do if you really give them the budget, and now everyone's like, oh, okay, no budget for them, and now Black people are like, okay, come on now, what's this about? What are you trying to do here? And now you're getting to see how they treat somebody when you find out, no, this was completely a setup, and you would think, okay, no, we caught you setting him up. Oh my God, these people are still trying to act like they didn't set him up. We have the pieces of paper. People are showing the piece of paper. Blah, 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 blah. So you set him up. So he didn't really do that, according to what you wrote down on this piece of paper, Mr. FBI man. And so now you're seeing all these. And so some Black people, it's like, oh yeah, and there's a whole lot of brothers out there, they say, oh, when they planted drugs and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, now you gotta wonder how fucking crooked the FBI is, don't you now? Now we all have to wonder. Does the FBI actually catch criminals? I mean, shit. So, yeah. And then also, you want you now you like the black Democrats. You're going to talk about white privilege. Hunter Biden. Now you're going to talk about white privilege. Hunter Biden. You're going to talk about white privilege. You're going to talk about Republicans and white privilege. Hunter Biden. You all need to stop. And a lot of you black women Democrats, you just completely and totally need to shut the fuck up for the rest of eternity. You've been totally felted. There's nothing you've gotten right. There's nothing you've gotten right. And now it's even better because now we get to hear these black Democrat women look like pickaninny morons. Like where's the cotton bin last? Holy shit. You don't stuff the cotton up your nose and in your ears. You know, holy crap. When, just went through the weave line twice. Brain line it leapt out of the brains line, went in the weave line twice. I mean, just holy shit. Some of these congressional hearings, and to hear black Democrats just act like morons, act like fucking embarrassing ass morons. But yeah, so that's that. What you don't know, you can't know, and people like me, we tried to tell you because we had unique knowledge about some of this stuff, and I read the humongous fucking books on this. See, if you want to know about boom, America's Nazi Secret. When you read through books like this and you mark up all the pages. Look at that, random. Look at that. Look at all that. Look at all that stuff I wrote in the margins, so I can remember it all. Because some of us do our homework, and that's why we're on the right wing.